Dictation for parliamentary reporter at the speed of 140 words per minute. Be ready? Start. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, the Department of Post is a very crucial department in the Government of India. Madam, we have across the country 1,55,000 post offices and approximately 4.8 lakh employees working together in the Department of Post. Madam, while it is the endeavor of the department to make sure that we have 100% delivery of all registered, unregistered, first class, and second class mail, there are issues sometimes when the mail is not received on time. That is because the Department of Posts has also to depend on external agencies such as air network, railway network, and transportation facilities of roads, etc., from other agencies. Madam, we are trying to make sure that our efforts bear fruits. We are setting up 6 automated mail processing centers in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. We have also inducted dedicated aircraft for the northeastern region. We are setting up mail post centers. We are also having radio frequency identification devices on bags. Since 2009, there has been lifting of the curbs on the induction and recruitment of members in the Department of Posts. So, we are trying to recruit more people. We are trying to rationalize the post offices. Through Project Arrow of the Department of Posts, we are making sure that we make these 1100 post offices ideal post offices. But it will be our endeavor in the time to come to collaborate more with other agencies to make sure that our delivery is more on time. In reply to this particular question, the Honorable Minister has stated no, which means there is no problem of shortage of manpower. At the same time, he has admitted, and I would like to quote one sentence of the minister: no, madam, shortage of manpower in normal course due to death, retirement, resignation, etc., is sought to be made up by recruitment. The short term gap between shortage and recruitment is sought to be made up by distribution and combination of duties. This is the crux of the matter. On the one side, they have said that there was no shortage of manpower. On the other hand, they have stated that they have redistributed the work amongst the available staff. The Honorable Minister has admitted this. If there is no shortage of manpower, and in this particular regard, I want to know how many recruitments they have undertaken in between, how many left the job due to retirements, deaths, or other reasons, and how many people have been recruited to fill up the gaps caused due to death, retirement, resignation, etc. If there is no definite answer or specific statistics readily available with him, madam, will you please allow him to lay the details on this particular aspect on the table of the House? That will be all right. In this context, I am sorry to state that I have written a letter to the Honorable Minister 2 years back referring to my own circle, but no reply has been received as yet. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member is a very senior member. I would like to very respectfully submit to him and to the House that what we stated in the answer is a fact that delays are not happening because of shortage of manpower. Since the Honorable Member wanted specific answers, I will just take 1 minute to elaborate. The total strength of the Department of Posts is 2,69,000 approximately. We have the Grameen Dak Sevaks, all inclusive. We have got 4.87 lakh sanctioned strength in the Department of Posts. The Honorable Member pointed out about the rationalization and shifting of post offices. It is an ongoing process. As you are aware, the dwellings and the habitations keep shifting. Cities are getting larger and larger. Villages are getting larger. Earlier, where there were post offices 30 or 40 years ago, perhaps the population has shifted to a nearby area and town. If we look at the population There are very fixed parameters in normal areas, hilly areas, and tribal areas. Depending on the population and the area, we accordingly rationalize the location of post offices and the number of people deployed. The Gramin Dak Sevaks were not considered government employees, so the 6th Pay Commission recommendations were not applicable to them. I am happy to inform the House that the department set up a committee to make sure that we address the grievances of the Gramin Dak Sevaks and that the report has been accepted. It is going to cost the government hundreds of crores of rupees, but these thousands of employees, the GDS employees, who were up until now not been given a raise between 15 to 30% per month of increase of their wages has already taken place. We are now also giving these Gramin Dak Sevaks for the first time a cycle allowance. Earlier, these Gramin Dak Sevaks were using cycles and putting money from their own pockets. Today, we give them cycle allowance, maintenance allowance, maternity grant for the GDS. We are now in the process of recruiting 7,800 more people in the Department of Posts. It is an ongoing process. For Group A and Group B, it is the UPSC and the staff selection boards that do the recruitment, and for Group C and D, it is an ongoing process and different state circles are already in the process of recruiting people. And 7,800 posts have been sanctioned, and we are in the process of recruiting such people. Madam, in matters relating to the defense of the country, we are willing to accept cryptic answers. We do not want extra transparency provided the answers given to us address the core issue. The question related to is why such accidents take place. It is the conventional wisdom. It is generally believed that the number of air accidents in our country is far in excess of what is considered to be the global norm. Each accident is an unfortunate event. I am sure they are unavoidable in all circumstances and there will be air accidents. But in India, we have seen that we have had more than our fair share of air accidents. This particular aircraft, the HJT 16, is not the first one that has had an accident. In fact, in the last 4 years, there have been couple of accidents involving this particular type of aircraft, and I am sure the ministry and the minister would have learned from the board of inquiries of those accidents as to why these accidents take place. By saying that the causes of this particular accident would be known only after the BOI has submitted its report is actually giving us no answer. Therefore, I would like to know from the minister why these aircraft are meeting with accidents at regular intervals and whether there is a design flaw with these aircrafts, and if so, what is that the government is planning to do, whether it is trying to phase out these aircrafts or upgrade them. We want some kind of answer from the government. In my first question, I mentioned that we are having a fair share of accidents. There is also a feeling and need for our aircraft to be phased out at regular intervals and newer aircraft inducted. We just heard some disconcerting reports that one of the types of aircraft that the Indian Air Force operates is going to be upgraded. The avionics and ornaments at a phenomenal cost, and the same report suggested that newer, better aircraft would probably be available to us for the cost that we are paying for the upgradation. Therefore, I would like to know from the Honorable Minister as to whether it would not be more prudent that instead of upgrading older aircraft which have now lived their useful life, and as to whether it would not be better if we go in for induction of newer aircraft available from other countries. This particular question refers to the naval aviation, and I would like to confine myself to that. To answer the question in general, every aircraft has a designed life, and a periodic upgradation is necessary, and we do try to induct the most modern aircraft into our flying given the budget, and also an upgrade as necessary at periodic intervals. I want to mention the name of an aircraft MiG 21. Stop.